Good morning, VIPs. It's Monday. Welcome to a new week. And yes, I'm recording in studio today because this episode of the Kessel Run will be going out on Thursday as this month's promo episode. So expect to see a bonus in the podcast feed. But before we get to any of that malarkey, let's talk about some of the stuff that happened over the weekend. So we got a couple of leaks again this weekend and a lovely tweet from Ron. And also we got an Instagram video from Amelia Clark, which is kind of interesting. I've got some thoughts on that. So let's start off by talking about these action figures, because I think there's plenty to be said about these things. So let's start there. So we managed to get these up on the Facebook page this week, and you know what trouble we've had recently with these leaked images and having them pulled down and what have you. So I'm quite relieved to see that they remained intact over on Facebook, and they are just regular action figures, just part of the Last Jedi 3 3/4 range, the 5 PA range of action figures. So nothing as special as Black Series, but they still look incredible, and I'm really pleased to say that they've also dropped that extra piece of plastic that they were packaging with the Force Awakens range. What was that about? I think they just had to get rid of some coloured plastic, to be honest, so they were chucking in little bits and pieces here and there. But these figures come with some really interesting accessories. So I'm looking at the first image on the Facebook page. This is on the main VIP feed. Was General Hux, who comes with a First Order blaster and a mouse droid, which I'm quite impressed with. Instead of like some rocket pack or some Nerf firing thing, it's actually nice. It's an in-universe accessory, which is pretty cool. And then we get a couple of interesting looks at Kylo Ren, complete with new cape, sans helmet, and movable scar. He also has his tri-bladed lightsaber as his main accessory. But the image I'm looking at has Luke alongside Kylo Ren without any accessories. This is Luke, End of Force Awakens Luke. So Luke in the white robes, like the Gandalf the Grey look. And I'm assuming there's underneath the cloak, the robot hand without the glove. But no sign of any accessories. So we know in The Last Jedi we're going to get a Luke with an electric prod to see off the Porgs, his Porg prod, and a walking stick. Whether or not he'll have the Jedi lightsaber, whether or not he'll have the green lightsaber, we don't know. But this figure doesn't come with any accessories at all. Not even a Porg in sight, which I think is unfortunate, because this figure is way late. This is the Force Awakens Luke coming out on a Last Jedi card. So, nothing there to give us any clues as to what this guy's been up to. I expect when we get the trash bag version of Luke, we'll have the Porg stick, the walking stick, maybe even a Porg, and possibly even his little messenger bag that he seems to have in the behind-the-scenes reel. The one thing I do like about this Luke figure, really like about it actually, is the sculpt. It really looks like Mark, and also there's some emotion in this figure. He's kind of looking off and down towards the ground. It's amazing. I don't know whether the head is articulated to allow him to sort of be posed in this way, but he looks fantastic. I'm really impressed with these figures, and the 3 3/4 range haven't interested me historically. I've got my name on an Afra figure, but this Luke might be something I pick up, even though it's an entire film too late. So moving on, we get there's another look at Finn in his First Order, in his Last Jedi costume. So it's Poe's jacket, but over what looks like Han's shirt. So he's rifling through other people's wardrobes again by lots of things, and he has a rather hefty looking blaster. Now behind the figures there's some sort of card, and I think Mark was speculating over on the Toy Box Facebook page that this might go in the Force Link bracelet, and when you wear this bracelet and get that card near the toy will speak. So that might prevent us from getting some leaks on Force Friday when these figures start to drop. Because on the other figures, we got a bunch of lines from the movie for The Force Awakens, which were being played in toy stores everywhere and recorded on iPhones. It's fantastic. These interesting ways these leaks come out. I really love this stuff. We also get a C-3PO figure, which I really love. This might be the first time, I think, since Revenge of the Sith that we'll see the guy completely gold. There's only so much you can do with the 3PO figure, I think, before you start releasing the same mold, the same figure over and over and over again. But this one I'm interested in. If there's an R2, I'd be very keen to pick both up and have them sat on the desk. Really like that. No accessories with 3PO, unfortunately. So moving on, we've got Rise Tycho. She seems to come with what looks like a tool or a communicator and a blaster, which is almost the same size as her, and a great sculpt of Kelly Marie Tran. She's a great looking little character. Moving on from that, we get Paige, Rose's sister, so Paige Tycho from The Last Jedi, who seems to be a Resistance gunner. I think she's in one of those bubble turrets at the bottom of the Resistance bomber that we saw in the trailer. She's also, I think, the character in the behind-the-scenes reel that we see falling through what looks like a munitions silo. Her accessory is a helmet, and I'm not sure. There seems to be something else in there, but I can't quite make out what that is. Possibly a weapon. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. She's got like a flight cap underneath the helmet. These figures are absolutely awesome. Really impressed. Then we get the First Order Stormtrooper, complete with a couple of blasters, and Chewbacca, complete with a bowcaster and a Porg. Finally, we see a little plastic Porg. So this could add weight to the rumours that we heard not so long ago that Chewie would spend some time on Ahch-To with the Porgs. So it might be like a little offshoot while he's there waiting patiently for Rey. A little side story of him possibly being tormented by the Porgs the way he seemed to be annoyed by the Ewoks. That guy has seen some creatures in his time. The last figure we've got is Rey. Now, Rey, I'm looking very closely and I cannot see the Skywalker light. So I think actually I might just be, it's not a very good photograph. I might just be able to see the tip of the blue blade alongside Rey's staff and the blaster that Han gave. And now this is what I'm referring to as third act Rey. So this is Rey in the more Jedi robes, the darker tunic, the grey tabard, the wrist gauntlets and the new boots with the Qui-Gon style haircut. So third act Rey. And yeah, definitely the lightsaber's definitely in there, just off to the side. It's just not a very good photograph that I'm looking at there for reference. So she looks great too. Captain Poe Dameron is also just credited as Resistance pilot. I think you might find he's the best pilot in the Resistance. He comes with a removable helmet. The sculpt of Poe Dameron's face doesn't necessarily look a whole deal like Oscar Isaac. It seems very narrow. He also comes complete with a blaster. This is another good figure, even though the sculpt isn't that clever. So a really interesting look at the 3 3/4 action figure range for The Last Jedi, which has been leaked somewhere, and we've got the images on our Facebook group. It doesn't actually say Last Jedi on the packaging that I can see. It just says Star Wars. That's interesting. But these are definitely official Hasbro figures. Really cool things. I'm gonna, I think, look into a couple of these figures. Probably not all of them, but some of them will certainly get my hard-earned dollar. So in addition to those leaks over the weekend, we got a look at some images again from the set of the Han Solo movie, the untitled Han Solo movie, as he includes in his tweets. Ron Howard sent out a tweet of himself discussing with the director, the scene that they're setting up with the director of photography. Now, if you look through this environment they're in, it looks like they're in sort of a cave, maybe a cellar. It looks a little bit like something you might find in Maz's castle or deep in the bowels of Jabba's castle. It's or it could be a temple. It's a pretty awesome dark scene. I think it looks really cool. But right over in the back corner, at the top left-hand side of the image, you can see an alien sort of slouched over the table. It's a big practical effect alien wearing like a bubble helmet. That looks really great. I'm not sure what this scene could be, where it could fit into the movie. It seems fitting to me that we could be seeing Han kind of reimagined as almost a Harrison, an Indiana Jones. I'm getting all my genres muddled up. An Indiana Jones style character sort of going into these places to retrieve something, like illicitly steal something. They're almost like grave robbers. That would be really cool to me, and I really like the idea that this alien is possibly like the space jockey in Alien, and he's been there for a while and may not even still be alive. But it's a pretty cool shot. I love this stuff that Ron's doing now, sending out tweets from the set, sending out these images. We've had a look into Lando's wardrobe. We've seen Lando at the control of the Falcon, looking pensive, and we've seen evidence that the Falcon leaps into hyperspace in this movie. And if you believe what you're seeing on the little monitors, it looks like Lando's at the controls and Han is in the background there somewhere. So Ron's being very open with the fans about this movie, about the process of making this movie. And I love that. I love this open communication that he has, this direct line to the people who are really the most important people when it comes to this movie. It's not the new audience. It's winning us over. And having this sort of open line of communication is fantastic. It's the first time I think it's really been done. I know JJ did a lot of photographs of his little handwritten cards everywhere. They came out during The Force Awakens. I don't remember much at all coming out from Rogue One. And Ryan did a bunch of black and white photography for The Last Jedi. But nothing, I don't recall anything as direct and as engaging as what Ron and some of the cast are now starting to do, which is the third thing I wanted to talk about this morning. It was Emilia Clarke's Instagram video of Chewbacca. Now, the idea of this video that she put out, and she must have had approval to put this out, was it was she and Junice playing around on set, Junice in costume as Chewbacca, and she was asking him how he felt that she had 10 million followers on Instagram. 10 million followers. And of course, Chewie celebrates, runs left and right, and then runs straight at camera, and we lose the feed, in inverted commas, which I think was pretty cool, pretty charming, nice bit of fun, but very important, I think, that this sort of activity now being sanctioned from the set of an in-production Star Wars movie shows that Lucasfilm, I think, are starting to recognise this as being a resource, a promotional tool, if you like. And if you just listen to Emilia in her video, 10 million followers, she's tapping into 10 million people who potentially aren't Star Wars fans, who potentially have never seen a Star Wars movie before. And now all of a sudden they're being exposed to it because they follow Emilia Clarke, because they know her from maybe Game of Thrones. And there's some cross-section there. There's some crossover between the fandom that genre TV show and these genre movies. If those fans aren't already engaged with Star Wars, perhaps they will be through Emilia. And I think that's really important. And it's interesting that they're not being shut down. They're not being told not to do this. That video wasn't pulled down from your Instagram feed. Someone said, thumbs up, go with it. And I think that's really interesting, that this might be the way forward now for Lucasfilm and Disney and the way they're viewing Star Wars in engaging the audience through the social platforms of the people they bring on, the people who bring with them a significant audience. And I've heard this spoken about before. Kevin Smith mentioned it a couple of years ago. Sometimes studios make their decisions on who they cast by who they can bring with them in terms of an existing audience, and not just actors, directors, and hosts on TV shows. If you can bring with you a brand that's established, you'll be very attractive to these producers. Now, I'm not suggesting that happened on Star Wars. I don't believe that for a second. This all seems to be something that's emerging in the consciousness of Lucasfilm, that they already have people coming on board, significant players like Emilia and Donald Glover, who bring with them established audiences. With Don Glover, he's not just bringing his audience from movies and TV shows, but he's bringing with him his audience as a musician. So there are people there that may not be exposed to Star Wars, and all of a sudden you're bringing in millions more potential audience members. I think that's wise. I think it's wise for Lucasfilm to tap into this stuff. I think it's wise for Ron Howard to tap into this stuff and use it to promote the film before it's even out of principal photography, before it's even in post-production, when they're starting to think about putting out trailers and teasers and posters and what have you. So this is an interesting move for Lucasfilm. I want to see more of it. I hope we see plenty of it throughout episode 9, because that's a troubled production with the loss of Carrie. I think that engaging us early on, keeping us in the loop, keeping us seeing things, keeping us seeing the spirit of the set, people engaged with each other, people having fun with it, that's important. It helps to reframe the project for the observers, the die-hard fans who are going to be in this from day one. When Colin Trevorrow calls action on episode 9, we're all going to be engaged, and we're going to be waiting to see whatever comes out. If you can engage your audience through social media early on, I think you might get them on side, and we'll all be really positive and excited for the project. The way I'm now feeling about Han Solo, and that is a quintessential example of a troubled production. Losing your directors partway through production, rebooting with someone brand new, and to get people on side, to kill the cynicism so early on with this sort of generosity from the set, double thumbs up. Really good idea. Anyway, that's the stuff that's come out over the weekend. There's something else. I should actually make a little bit of a retraction. So today's Monday, so new podcast hits the feed. Now, as you know, we record on a Thursday. So there's plenty of time over the weekend for other things to happen. And something happened this weekend, which was an update to something we reference in the show, in this week's show, which is the possibility that Spencer Wilding, the guy who played Darth Vader in Rogue One, might be attached to the Han Solo project. Now, this all came out from some convention somewhere, had jumped the gun and posted an update to Spencer's cancellation. He cancelled an appearance at this con. And the organisers of the con just assumed it was because he's working on Star Wars. So they put out a press release that says Spencer's working on the latest Star Wars film, which means Han Solo, and so he won't be able to attend the con. Now, that wasn't strictly true. Now, at the time, when we spoke about this on Thursday, in the podcast that goes out today, we mentioned that Spencer's presence on the Han Solo movie doesn't necessarily have to mean Vader. We thought it would be a bad idea, in fact, that it was Vader, but he could be playing any number of characters. So I just wanted to put in, not necessarily a retraction, but just a clarification that since we recorded, Spencer's come out on his Facebook page and said no. The reason I couldn't make the con is because I'm tied up with some charity events and not involved with the Star Wars project in any way. The organisers of the con jumped the gun, and he kind of threw cold water on that speculation right then and there, which is good news for me, I think. Not that I don't want Spencer involved with Star Wars projects, I do. In any capacity, it would be fantastic. Just Vader in Han Solo didn't make sense for me. It was too soon. So I just wanted to clarify in this morning's Kessel run that, yes, it's been a few days since we recorded, and in that time, he's come out and clarified his comments that he's not involved with Star Wars, which is great. He's involved with charity, which I think is even better. But I hope we do see Spencer again in a later movie, but it doesn't always have to be Vader. The guy's multi-talented. He doesn't always have to be in the armour. Okay, as I mentioned at the top of this episode, this is going to be going out as a bonus. Now, the idea of these bonuses, as what you know I mentioned in a previous Facebook Live session, was to introduce people that may not already be VIPs to the VIP program. So I like to put something out every month that just lets people know what the perks are of being a VIP, how you become a VIP. And this week, this month, I've got a couple of clips I wanted to drop in as well, just to sort of show some of the stuff we've done in the past month or so. Things that I've really enjoyed and I think have been well received by VIPs and regular listeners alike. So let's start off by talking about how you can become a TSW VIP. Now, the idea is that the VIP program is designed to be a thank you, a reward, if you like, a perk for people coming on and sponsoring us. Think of it like the Patreon scheme, but without us using Patreon. But you would become patrons of our cause, if you like. And our cause is that we're trying to support and expand our programming. So we have a couple of new podcasts that are on the back burner, waiting for an opportunity to launch them. couple of YouTube series that we want to try and get to. We need time for that. And time, unfortunately, means money. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to cover the costs, our existing costs at TSW, but trying to gain enough capital where we can expand and develop more shows to put in possibly separate feeds, possibly VIP exclusive material, all part of our VIP initiative, where you guys, when you're in that group, you get to impact on the sort of things that we create. So if you wanted to be a part of this thing, you can head over to talkstarwars.co.uk/support and choose one of 3 rates of donations to make every month. You do that securely via PayPal, and they are a £1, £2 and £3 rate. Now, everybody gets the same regardless of how much you want to chip in. The idea is, if you can afford a little more and you want to help us grow faster, then please feel free to do so. If you only want to give £1 a month, that's absolutely fine. There's also an annual season pass in there that you can pick up, and then you don't have to worry about things coming out every month, and that will only be renewed yearly. So what do you get once you've taken that step and you become a VIP? What do you get in return? Well, we make you a VIP, a member of this community of people, this community of supporters who are absolutely spectacular. And as part of that perk, you get these few things. So first off, you get priority release podcasts. So each month we release shows, different shows, monthly shows that are dedicated to things like toys, comic books, and we have a show dedicated to the VIP community itself. So last month on the TSW Toy Box, which is our toy show, Rob, Mark and Jeremy played host to Steele Saunders. Now, Steele is a Premier League Star Wars podcaster. He's part of the Making Star Wars Network. He has a couple of shows, a call-in show and a Star Wars show. And the guy is just a legend. He's absolutely spectacular. And this month he popped on and proved just what great value he is. And I'm going to play you a clip now that will show that when you actually work with Steele, you need to be sure to bring your A game. So check out this clip from last month's TSW Toy Box.
Right, so we have the immense pleasure of being joined by, I think it's fair to say, a heavyweight in the Star Wars podcasting world.
Oh, that's a bit rough, you guys. I've been working out. I'm trying to lose a few pounds. Just starting out with an insult, that's just rough. And then in an audio, what does it matter how heavy I am? It's the voice.
Oh, well, I feel terrible.
This podcast is over. I'm done. I'm Steele. I'm from a podcaster from Australia, stand-up comedian, and I've just recently moved to LA, and I do the Steele Wars podcast, which has been going for about 3 years.
So I didn't know this about you, Steele. That you're a vintage collector. Apparently, they're being summoned to another podcast. Apparently,
silenced.
No, it's all right, man.
Wow. Who's the amateur? My God.
So they're still there proving that if you're going to have one of the biggest podcasters in the world on your show, you probably do well to mute your mobile phone. What a great guy. He was a lot of fun. I suggest going back and checking out the TSW Toy Box if you haven't already heard it. And that is one of the shows that you get early as a VIP. You'll get that at least a week in advance. So you want to be ahead of the curve. You'll know about it there. And also with these sorts of things, when we're going to be carrying out these kind of interviews, we will always reach out to the VIPs and see if they want to contribute questions and comments to these events. Also this month, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Karina Becco. Karina is the writer, or one of the writers on Star Wars Legacy 2. And Karina sat down to talk about Star Wars fandom, working on those Dark Horse series of comic books before things went back to Marvel, and also some exciting new projects that she had. I found Karina to be an absolute delight to speak with, and I hope that we can have her on TSW Comics again in the future. But here's a little clip of my conversation with the legendary Karina Becco. Karina Becco, welcome to TSW Comic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Obviously, we've got a Star Wars podcast. Set the stage for the Star Wars fans who will probably be most familiar with your work from Star Wars Legacy 2.
Yes.
Is that right? Do you think that's how most people will know you?
I think so. I do. I've done other sporadic work. I've worked for most of the companies, but that was a big one, and we worked on it we had a pretty good long run on there until the license went away from Dark Horse. So I felt like we were really lucky with this because basically they said they wanted all new characters, all new things. So we were the farthest in the future. Like they wanted something set not between the movies, not close to the movies, but as far forward as possible. So our main character, they just said we want her to be a solo, and that we want her to be a woman.
Yeah, and this is the character of Anya Solo, is
Yes.
it? And she's a granddaughter of Hanaleo?
You know what's funny is we know this, but we were never allowed to tell. And when the license went to Disney, we thought, well, surely we can now say what we thought. And they said, nope.
So there's a little snippet of my conversation with the wonderful Karina Becco. She goes on to talk about one of the other passions in her life, which is paleontology, and also drop some news about a new project she's working on that I'm sure will be close to a lot of comic book readers' hearts. But you'll have to head over to the interview to check that news out. So that also, TSW Comics is a VIP priority release every month. You'll get that early. And also as a VIP, you get to be involved with making podcasts, even if you've never podcasted before, with our show, TSW Roundtable, which is a fantastic show hosted by my good friend Robert Cast in Canada. He puts together a unique group of people every month. It's a couple of hosts from around the Commonwealth and also a couple of lucky VIPs. So he'll try and sing that out as best as possible because we're a global community with, in terms of timelines, so that we can all record at a reasonable hour. But they are an awful lot of fun. The last episode I did with Corey Russell from The Tumbling Sabre and Adam Sheldon and Katie Stubbs, two UK-based VIPs, and it was just so much fun. I recommend getting involved with that, with the VIP program. If you want to just get involved with that podcast, it's worth it alone. Interesting conversation there, challenging conversation. The VIPs bring questions, the hosts don't know what's coming, and we're thrown curveballs and having to think on our feet. It's a lot of fun, very interesting stuff, and that's another priority release podcast. So you should hear your involvement with that show within a day or so of that being recorded, which is quite a unique experience, to say the very least. Also, as a TSW VIP, you'll get access to TSW Feature Cons, which is our series of audio commentaries for the Star Wars movies, and we plan to go beyond and do other films like Willow and Raiders and Jaws, anything that's even remotely connected to the Star Wars world. We will talk about those movies. They're a lot of fun, and I also plan to expand out, because at the moment I just do them with my co-host, but I'm planning to expand out and do the odd episode with VIPs as well, so they get to share their insights to these incredible films. And one last word on podcasts, and that's this podcast, the TSW Kessel Run. The idea of this show is that I record a podcast on the go when I'm walking the dog or driving to work, and I put out the latest Star Wars news daily. So I'll go through my email feed in the morning, I'll pick out whatever's the most interesting topic, one or two things, and I'll talk about those for sort of 15 or 20 minutes and give you a hit of Star Wars news every day. That's exclusive to VIPs. Does not hit the main podcast feed. It only gets published in the private VIP feed and makes its way into our Facebook page. More on that later. So we mentioned feature comms for the movie. So while we're talking about the Star Wars movies, you'll also get a chance as a VIP to join our Watch Along Facebook group. It's the Talk Star Wars Watch Along group. This month we sat down together and watched Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. In the group we kick things off with a Facebook Live, and then we sit and exchange trivia and insights and rumour and updates and blatant lies in some cases. There are some guilty VIPs out there, Mr. Phillips. And we end the whole thing with a brief Facebook Live session at the end. It's enormous fun. And I'm trying to encourage VIPs to do them on their own. You don't need to wait for us. If you wait for us to get through our hectic schedules, they might take ages to do. But there's nothing stopping you guys scheduling an event, sitting down, watching a film together, throw in a few comments and critiques to each other. It was an absolute blast. That's the VIP watch along group on Facebook. And on the subject of Facebook, every week before we record the main podcast, I do a Facebook live session directly into the VIP Facebook group. This is an opportunity for us to gather together as a community and talk about the latest news, get questions and comments last minute before the show goes live, and discuss whatever's happening, the breaking stuff. We got this week before we recorded this episode of the podcast, a bunch of leaked images from The Last Jedi came out. A picture of Snoke, Luke. They're all very basic. They hadn't been completely produced as yet, and we spoke about those for a while. We trade comments, theories, and what have you in there. It's a great deal of fun, and it also plays host once a month to yet another VIP perk, which is the prize draw. So what we do every month is we pick whatever's relevant. It could be, we've given away pieces of fan art in the past. An Australian listener and a good friend of mine, Matthew Keegan, did a wonderful pencil sketch of a DL44 blaster. It was photorealistic. It was absolutely stunning. We gave that away to a listener. We gave away an X-Wing Luke 40th anniversary Black Series 6-inch figure, which we picked up at the con. It was donated by Robert Cast, and we gave that away to a listener. But more commonly, we give away things like the latest books. And on this week's Facebook Live, we did our VIP draw for the month, and TSW VIP Jared Peppard won a hardback copy of Inferno Squad, the latest book to come out in advance of Battlefront 2. And Jared had that by the next day, courtesy of our friends at Amazon. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning something Star Wars shaped, something exciting, that is a perk every month, a VIP giveaway. So finally, this, I've referenced it all the way through this episode. My favourite part of the VIP program, and something that could never have been designed, is the Facebook community. Our exclusive VIP Facebook page is filled with an international group of Star Wars fans, and probably some people in there that you'll know. Think people who may have been involved with Star Wars over the years. It's absolutely vibrant. It's engaging. What a wonderful group of friends. And I think it's the best part of what we do, is this group of people who support and encourage each other. They tease each other mercilessly, but all in good fun. In fact, to demonstrate the nature of this VIP group, I wanted to play you a little clip from a Facebook Live session that I carried out this month, which was just before my birthday. The idea was, it was just a regular Thursday before I recorded the podcast with the guys, and I was on Facebook Live, and little did I know, the VIPs had gotten together and conspired to gate crash my live session. So here's a clip of that, and you'll see where this goes. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They did Force Awakens, they did Rogue One, they've made their mistakes, but now I think that they've got the right directors in place, the right people doing the right jobs. I think they're on top of it.
Oh, mate.
Hello, mate. Look who's here. Andy Smith's just dropped in.
They know.
Are you... What is all this?
Hello.
Oh, mate, yeah, that's me recording. How are you? Look,
I'm alright, mate.
I'm just going to say hello to Andy. How are you? You all right, mate?
Yeah, mate, thank you. Yeah.
What are you going for?
Well,
oh, mate.
it's your birthday.
In a couple of days.
In a couple of days, but you're not recording live, and we thought it'd be fun. So if you've got, the VIPs got together.
Oh, my goodness.
We've got you some presents.
What have you done?
So,
everyone know about this? How rude. It's got to be art.
It's a piece of art. It's a work of art.
Oh, this is amazing. What a thing to do. Oh, my God. Where did that come from? Who did that?
Dave Prowse.
Yeah, but who got that done?
We can get it.
Goodness me, that's amazing. Oh, that's taking pride of place right above the computer. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Tears yet? In a minute. Oh my God, that's amazing. That is gorgeous. Thank you so much. Where's the rest of it? Cheeky. That is so awesome. Thank you so much. So you could probably hear in that clip just how moved I was by this community of people who had come together and done such a generous and thoughtful thing for me in buying me. You may have heard it was a photograph of Darth Vader from Empire Strikes Back, signed by the man himself, David Prowse, with a personalised message to me. A wonderfully thoughtful thing to do. That's the community at the heart of Talk Star Wars. That's the VIP community. If you would like to be a part of that wonderful group of people, then head to talkstarwars.co.uk/support. Support what we do, help expand what we do, and become a VIP and join this prestige league of Star Wars fans. It's absolutely stunning. And to the VIPs, thank you once again for what you did this month. And what you do all the time with regard to creating a community at the heart of this thing. It's spectacular. Okay. The TSW VIP program. It's there to support our site. It's there to help us as we expand our programming. But it offers you an opportunity to become a part of this incredible Star Wars fan community, all for as little as £1 per month. Okay, thanks for listening to this episode of TSW Kessel Run. For the VIPs, there'll be another one tomorrow. And for everybody else, I'll catch up with you next month. Have a good one.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.